Hello everyone, it is Kinsey May, and I'm going to be sharing my sister's story, like I said in my last video. I do have to kind of warn you guys, it is very emotional, very raw. It talks about weight, it talks about sexual assault, it talks about suicide and depression, but her story is amazing. So, yeah, let's get to it. Lesson I learned. And it all started at a drinking fountain in 5th grade when a boy younger than me came up to me. He looked me up and down, then proceeded to ask me, "Are you pregnant?" Now, me being as young as I was, I didn't think much of it. I just told him no with a confusing look on my face and walked away. I've always struggled with my weight. I was 140 pounds in 6th grade. I used to be bigger than all my classmates, and believe me, they didn't let me forget it either. Middle school was probably the most difficult part of my life for me. My mom would tell me that the fat on my body was normal, it was just baby fat. I grew up in a household that protected me. I was a very innocent child. Because of this, I never knew about self-harm or throwing up every meal. It wasn't until middle school when I found out about cutting and not eating. I found out because my friends would have scars on their wrists and they wouldn't tell me, "Maybe you should skip this meal, Jess." To this day, I remember coming home and calling my mom crying because I didn't understand why people would do this to themselves. Finally, when I was tired of being made fun of and being bigger than everyone else, I made a decision to join the basketball team. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm no athlete at any way, and I knew it too. I would show up to practices. I felt like all we would do is run, and I hated running. Still to this day, I hate it. Even though I hated it, I didn't quit, because I would rather do something I hated than look the way I did. Basketball practice would consist of me running and then blacking out because I never ate enough. After practice, I would come home and I wouldn't eat anything. Around this time of my life, I started getting really sad. Depression has been a big part of my life. It runs through my family on my mom's side, so it's no surprise that I have depression. I just remember sitting in class, doing my homework, not talking to anyone, and there was a group of kids laughing and talking, while a girl turned around from me from that group and said, "Jess, I haven't heard you talk in a long time. Why are you always so sad?" And my response was, I just stopped pretending to be happy all the time. It was exhausting. Summer before 7th grade, girls' camp was probably the worst experience of my life. I hated it because, 1, I was surrounded by teenage girls, and 2, they are so mean. They started this joke about me that I was pregnant and most of the girls were in on it. I remember a girl walking up to me, girls that I didn't even know, and they'd ask me stupid questions just to be mean. They would say, "So, when's the baby due? Who's the baby daddy? I can't believe that you're pregnant. What a whore." This was probably the hardest thing to deal with. I had been working so hard to lose the weight. They said all these things to me made everything worse. I basically stopped eating completely. But that wasn't hard to do because when you have depression, you aren't hungry anyway. Going back to school after that was hard. I didn't want to see the people that said all the mean things to me. My heart was full of hate. People noticed all the weight I had lost, and they were asking me how I lost it, and I would tell them that I just didn't know. I didn't want people to know the struggle was that I was struggling. Nothing really changed from 7th grade to 8th grade. Freshman year, I was the smallest I had ever been since elementary. I weighed 103 pounds. I remember being constantly cold because I had no fat on me to keep me warm. Even in the summer, my hands would be a light purple. Even though I was always cold, I finally liked the way I looked. Guys would actually compliment me and tell me that I looked good. Even though I had lost the weight, people still wouldn't let me forget what I used to look like. They brought the 6th grade yearbook to school and showed people what I looked like and how much I've changed. This guy walked up to me and said, "Wow, puberty really hit you like a truck." No way, more like a plane. They even showed the teacher, and when I was in the teacher's class, she stopped class to tell me in front of everybody how much I didn't even look like the same person. My mom finally told me if I wasn't eating, she would call my volleyball coach and tell her I can't play because I wasn't eating. So that's the only reason I started eating. I told myself I would never weigh more than 140 ever again. Every time I weigh myself, the number goes up, my heart would sink to my stomach. Jumping forward to junior year, I was happy. I had friends and I was at a good weight. I started dating this guy from Spanish Fork. He was really kind and we got along. He was planning on serving an LDS mission, so I assumed he was a great guy. Well, I assumed wrong. After a few months of dating, he sexually assaulted me. He held me down and tried to force me to do things with him. I didn't know what to do. He was so much bigger than me. I finally got away and told him to take me to my car. After this, I went home and I didn't get out of bed for 3 days. My depression was at an all-time high. After those 3 days, I got up and went to my grandma's work, and she looked at me and just knew something was wrong. I just started crying and could barely get my words out. Once I did tell her, she convinced me to talk to my mom. I was scared my mom was going to be mad at me. When I told her, she was quite calm. She asked me if I wanted to press charges, and me being the kind person I am, I said no because 1, he begged me not to, and 2, I didn't want to ruin his life. I thought about staying with him, but after talking with one of my friends, they convinced me not to, and I'm so glad they did. I didn't think it would affect me that bad, but it did. I would just randomly start crying in my classes. I missed a lot of school. One night I remember laying in my bed. I can't do it anymore. I hate crying every day, so I got out my journal and I ripped out a piece of paper and I began to write how I felt and how much I didn't want to be alive anymore. I wrote it because if I followed through with killing myself, at least my family would have an explanation to why I did it. Even though I know deep down in my heart I could never do that to my family no matter how much I was hurting. During lunch one day, I went to my mom's office to talk, and she pulled out a folded note. My folded up note. Once I saw it, I started crying. I didn't know what to do or how she even found it. "What is this?" she said. I said, "How did you find it?" I think you could hear the panic in my voice. "It was on your bedroom floor." She started to tear up. I knew her heart broke when she read it. "Jess, what is wrong with you? Do you need to talk to somebody? Do you need antidepressants?" "No, I don't want antidepressants. I thought if I took antidepressants, it would make me look weak." "It doesn't make you look weak just because you need a little extra help getting through the day." "No, I don't want it. I have to go back to school." I got up and walked out of the door with tears in my eyes. Eventually, I got sick of crying for no reason, so I agreed to take antidepressants. They honestly do help a lot. I still struggle with my weight, but my mom makes sure that I'm eating and getting enough nutrients. Although sometimes it gets annoying, I'm glad she will do that for me. I am at a healthy weight, and I am happy with my life. Although throughout all those years, I probably learned the most important lesson. Don't change yourself for other people. Do not make you happy because, in the end, you're all that matters. So, in the end, reading this honestly broke my heart because this was my little sister. And knowing that she went through all this, starting clear back in 5th grade, broke my heart. And my mom didn't find that note on the floor. I found it tucked away in her bed. And I gave it to my mom because I was scared. I didn't know what to do, and I didn't want my sister to be mad at me. And I remember being at girls' camp, and these girls were calling her fat and calling her pregnant and everything. And I was so mad. I was so mad. I was mad at my leaders. I was mad at the other girls. I was mad at the church. I was mad because I felt like I could not protect my little sister from everything that was going on in her life. And it's part of the reason why I love doing what I'm doing and why I started this coaching business in the first place, is because it was stories like hers and stories like mine, and I knew that girls needed help. They needed to understand that they are perfect the way that they are strong, capable young women. And they need to know that. They need to know that they can accomplish anything that they want. And I remember going to school and hearing that one guy say that puberty hit her more like a plane. And it made me mad. Like, well, why can't people just say, yeah, she looks awesome, but like at the same time, I knew how bad she struggled. I remember coming home from girls' camp, and my parents would sit at our kitchen table and make sure she ate at least half of her dinner. And she would do that crying. And it has been so hard. But she is one of the strongest people that I know. And one of the people that I look up to and I admire so much. I remember one time, it was Christmas Eve, and she drove home, and she hit a cow. And luckily she wasn't in her new car, but I had to go and pick her up and drive our Saturn back to our house. And I remember her telling me that she was so mad that she was never going to amount to how much Mom and Dad had standards of me and where she should be. And that she would rather kill herself because she could not reach that expectation. And I told her, Jessie, you are amazing just the way you are. You are doing so much remarkable, incredible things. You have goals, you have ambitions. You can do anything you put your mind to. And this story that I just shared with you guys really makes me have a passion to ignite the flame and the spark inside other teens to accomplish their goals. To see that they are brave, they are beautiful, they are bold, and they can be themselves, and they don't need to compare themselves to anyone else in this world, because they are enough. They are amazing, and I just want to help those who can't see themselves and their self-worth, because those are the stories that make me so sad, and I just need to help. I need to help them see that they are amazing young women and young men. So, yeah, just like my sister said, don't change yourself for other people. Do what makes you happy, because in the end, you're all that matters. So, be brave, be beautiful, be bold, and be you. I love all you guys so much. Thank you for tuning in. And I will be back again next week at 2 o'clock. So, love you guys all so much. Bye.